When I was writing this speech, I wasn't really sure what my story could inspire. But then I realized it's not so much about my story, but rather what I've learned as I was creating it. So I'd like to share a few things that I've picked up along the way. First, don't be bothered with the haters. We've all known people who simply couldn't find anything positive to say, and many of them were the unlikeliest ones. I remember my parents and teachers growing up telling me, "You're wasting your potential," or "You'll never be able to do that, find something else." For most of my childhood, I let these people's words control my thoughts and actions. Even to the point when they told me I wasn't going to graduate high school, I believed them, so I didn't bother applying to college. I was 18, working a low-wage job, barely making ends meet, and it clicked. Who I am has nothing to do with what other people say I am. The second thing I've learned is failing isn't failure. If you try, I can guarantee you at some point you will fail. It's what you do when you fail that will determine whether or not it's a failure. I found myself a few years out of high school selling cars. And I was trying to, and I think I sold 3 cars in the 5 months I worked there. But when I left that job, my head was held high because even though I hadn't been successful, I had still learned something about myself that I could use in my life. The third thing I've learned is always have a couch to crash on. About 10 years ago, I found myself living out of my truck, and a close friend of mine noticed something was going on and asked me what it was. And when I told him, he and his wife graciously offered me use of their couch whenever I wanted it. And that's not to say these people were pushovers. More often than not, they were the first people to tell me when I was being an idiot. But it was that level of kinship that sees us through the tough times and drives us to be better. Finally, eat the food. You can probably guess I like this one a lot. I've traveled overseas a lot in my life, and most of the time when I would go on trips with a group, the people I was with wanted to eat at the closest fast food restaurant. They weren't willing to try anything new. By the end of each trip, our sponsors would always ask me if they could adopt me, and they would tell me it was because I ate whatever they fed me. Well, I realized it wasn't really about the food, but rather that I was willing to experience a part of their culture with a completely open mind. This is an idea that's been reinforced in my time at TCC. Where else but a college campus can you find people of virtually every social, religious, economic, professional background within a 10-minute walk? Where you work or live, I challenge you to seek these experiences out. And if you can't find them there, travel someplace new. Finally, let me leave you with this last thought. This is commencement. It's a beginning. What is it the beginning of for you? As you work to figure that out, take on the challenge of the naysayers. Work to prove them wrong. And when you fall, make sure you have a place to land. And as you're sitting there pondering your next move, grab a bite. Thank you all, and congratulations, class of 2015.